welcome to ASL Vanguard. We are live with Group E. And we're already in the first game. So,
how exciting.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Our first player is down here in the bottom left-hand corner. They are playing in teal and playing as Protoss. Representing RNG, it is doohickey.
And his opponent in the top right-hand corner, representing Boreal Gaming, it is the Green Terran, Alumina. Alumina? Alumina or Alumnia?
Alumina?
Alumina. I'm feeling Alumina right here. All right. Whew. Getting dressed right before the cast.
I think you'll find it's Alumina.
You mean aluminium? I think it's aluminium, actually.
That makes no sense.
Aluminium? Alumina?
Alumina.
All right.
This is silly. Stop it. Don't stand for any more of it. You know what's not silly, though? This Reaper Warlock. Whoa, look at that. Check it. I'd tap that. Unless I was a Reaper, in which case I wouldn't tap that, because I wouldn't be able to get behind the mineral line. Boom!
Did you just say tap that?
So fly. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure I'm hearing what I'm hearing, not a trigger right here. Reaper from Alumina. We'll start to go over that scouting probe. Not going to get anything done, but that will give doohickey enough time to get that mothership core out, even though Alumina actually kind of planning to use that Reaper at least to defend for a little while, sends an SCV scout early over and scouts just to see what he can see.
Yeah, and what will he see? That is the real question. The answer is not too much. I mean, he'll see 3 pylons, he'll see 2 assimilators, one of which will have just been taken, though. And, I mean, there's nothing, like, no crucial revealing information here in doohickey's base. I guess the most that Alumina can really see is that doohickey has been on 1 assimilator for quite some time, but actually he doesn't even get far enough to see that second gas, or in fact either the gases with his Reaper. So, whatever.
Yeah, not much to glean from doohickey's base here, but Alumina on the other side, or on the other hand, a scout off onto this base would be great. He is going 3 racks at the moment, and getting down reactor tech lab, so some sort of stim timing we're going to see out of Alumina for now. And I mean, he's even prepared, he's got the bunker down, he's prepared for any early aggression from doohickey, but it's looking like it's going to be a pretty strong push, just because we do see Robo out of doohickey. But with a little bit of a late gas, the Robo Bay maybe just a little bit later, denying some early Colossus, which he really needs in a position like this.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. And I mean, Alumina, if early Colossi do come out, won't really have much of an answer to them, just because he hasn't got the starport or anything up. He's just gone straight 3 barracks. But that will mean he'll have a lot of bio, and he'll have stim a bit earlier than doohickey really expects. So there's a significant possibility for a really nice stim timing to come out of Alumina. But I don't know, that's still a little way off. And if it does come out, it likely won't have combat shields, and definitely won't have very many supporting units like Medevacs or Vikings.
Yeah, I agree. It wouldn't be all in, but it would be a very daring move by Alumina if he decides to do that. But it doesn't look like he will for now. Throwing down some more supply depots. A little bit wary of what may come out of doohickey and just getting that all. But on the other side, doohickey getting out that observer just to go over and see what his scout. I'm sure once he sees this, he's going to react a little bit to it because there is tech lab and factory finally going down to try to get into that those medevacs that he needs. But I mean, I think Alumina. Maybe just waste a little on economy getting 3 racks down. I'd rather see him get 1 or 2 racks than go to the factory. But obviously, 3 racks would have been a little safer against something crazy out of doohickey, but we did not see any of that from doohickey. Maybe Alumina, I thought that early only 1 gas was representing some aggression, which we did not see, which is pretty normal for Protoss that they're going to be doing early aggression.
Yeah, I mean, Protoss have got a lot of early aggressive options. The pressure builds with either
with 1 gas
or with Yeah, I mean, they're a little fewer off lot one gas, but he didn't actually get a scout on his with his Reaper for quite some time because it was chasing a probe over to the kind of left-hand side of the map, and then it had to get all the way over back to the right-hand side, and then it had to make its way across the map, and then it didn't actually even get to see the gases, so I don't know. Either way, what we're actually seeing out of doohickey is about as far from pressure as you can get with a double forge coming down and just some, you know, regular old Colossi coming out. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be pretty well set up to go into the late game with his double upgrades. He's actually going to be on 1-1 before Alumina even gets +1 attack. So he's going to be really, really well set up to go towards the late game and beyond.
Yeah, he will do it. He definitely preparing for that late game. We do already see the Twilight Council out, so, I mean, he's got a lot of options to kind of go into. Just getting out the Colossus, playing quite normal Protoss versus Terran style, and looks like for Alumina, he actually scattered the Observer on top of his army, but is moving into a little bit of attack, but no Medivacs currently with the army. Medivacs coming over, though. Combat Shield is going down. Stim is already finished in +1 infantry, or at least +1 attack, but, I mean, Doohickey's looking pretty good, except my only worries, he only has 1 sentry, not that many Zealots or Stalkers, so I feel like he's going to be in a scary position, and he does have 300 minerals at the moment, could warp in some more guys, but actually deciding to get the production up of Gateway, so he's going to have to be very, very careful in this position with this early Colossus, but if he can get by this, he's going to be in a great position.
Yeah, and this is kind of the big swell of bio I was talking about when I saw that through reaction. This is a little bit later, and but I mean, all the stronger for it. However, with 2 Colossi, especially with no combat shields, those Marines absolutely have to run for their lives, as the 2 Colossi will be like one-shotting them, and huge swathes of them as well. So, Alumina, with the Folk Nova charge going down as well, has to back off a little bit. But he's kind of safe in the knowledge that there's no third base coming out of Doohickey, so that's pretty nice for him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no third base yet. Even Alumina throwing that Marine right there just to make sure he knows what happens. And this force is going to get crushed if it tries to move in this main army, but it will be pulled back. And an observer won't actually quite see that. Or Doohickey will see it now. He does see it on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, though, we do see the third base going down. 1 Marine pressuring it, but shouldn't be too much. Should pull the army a little bit out of position, though. But looks like Doohickey already ready with 3 Stalkers in his main. And this is just interesting so far, because I feel like Doohickey really can propel both of these attacks, but he's got to be in the proper position, which we don't see him in.
Yeah, and so an immediate cancel on that third base is going to delay a little bit, and when the Stalkers goes down, and Doohickey's army is just much, much smaller as a consequence of the fact that he's gone. Well, firstly, he's committed so heavily to upgrades, and secondly, that he went so quickly up Tech Tree, whereas Alumina got his barracks down, and so he's got a much bigger kind of tier 1.5 army, whereas Doohickey has those powerful tier 3 units in the form of the Colossi and a few observers scattered about, tier 2 units, and
yeah, he's been watching that medevac for a really long time. The medevac even moved once, just a little bit, and hasn't actually moved in, so he's completely ready for that. Yeah, he's
in fact, now it's going in, but there's a group of Stalkers to meet it, so it gets driven away. Absolutely no problem there for Doohickey. Wow, is he actually going charge before blink? That's a little bit interesting. Mm-hmm. Oh no, he's got blink. Okay, that's fine.
He's got blink. Yes, he's getting charged, but then a warp prism. So I assume we're going to see some zealot run bys, which is going to be very good in the main base of Alumina, because he's got some nice barrack positioning, but that's just going to inhibit some of his bios that may want to stem into there. But we do see Doohickey playing. Still does not have that big of a gateway army because most of the Stalkers on his main. I'd love to see them join with the main and maybe put 1 or 2 cannons down, just because he is at he was at 700 minerals for a while. Doohickey actually breaking down those rocks. I'm not sure how good of an idea that is, because you can get a stem from 2 sides, and Alumina may utilize that. I don't know if he will. If he auto-moved, he would see the rocks are gone. But looks like he's actually going to go into pressure the third. We do see 1 Colossus in the warp prism. Okay, I will be put down. I was like, oh, I don't know how good of an idea that is for now. Moving over to defend the third base. Warp prism moving to the left-hand side. Looks like Alumina stimming in, but I think he knows if he gets trapped in there, he's doomed. But he looks like he's still stimming in, but that was a little bit of hesitance in that or he hesitated right there, and that may be the downfall.
Yeah, I think he's still got enough DPS to take down this Nexus, though. And with a lift up on the medevac, he's going to try and get out, or at least make his way into the main base, and does that successfully. These 4 Stalkers aren't enough to actually clean it up. The Colossus support, though, no problem, and he will clean up. However, of course, he lost his natural to do so, so that's a little bit tough. But doohickey is now sitting at 2-2, got +3 attack on the way, and yeah, when we see +3 defense as well to follow it up, then he's going to be in pretty good stead. And there's a little 5 Zealot warping as well going on in the top left up here, just from a proxy pylon. That can run in towards the third base of Alumina anytime soon and start wreaking its own havoc.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to boot all that, Proxy Pylon on the left-hand side, Warp Prism on the right-hand side. I was saying, a nice warp in. Now, obviously, Barracks are constantly producing, which is great, which will inhibit the attacks a little bit, but still, any of the army trying to pull back, they're going to have a little bit of a hard time moving through these Barracks. But we do see on the right-hand side, Alumina, no Medivacs with a little bit of force, but trying to do that. No Medivacs with his main force either, but a lot of, sorry, 1 Medivac, and we do see 9 Vikings. And those Stalkers were kind of used up earlier because they were in small groups, and they are on the left-hand side still. He's got to be so careful. There's so many Vikings here and only 3 Stalkers. We do see a large warping of Stalkers going down with the main army of Alumina. I think he can pull back the Stalkers on the left-hand side just because we have the Observers there, and he's still trying to be a little bit safe. We see Zealots moving in. Zealot charge is done. He's doing very well, but so many Vikings here taking down these Colossus so easily. Already taking down 1, going for a second one. We'll take down that second one with Stalkers working away on this Colossus. There is a stem on Alumina, but units not actually moving in, and it looks like most of the army pushed back. At the same time, third base of Alumina hit pretty hard, and so far he has lost only 3 workers. I was hoping there was going to be a big amount to quickly go to, but only 3 workers lost actually so far.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, really, Alumina has just been sniping bases, really, Pult style. But doohickey is going for workers. He's got his own little bit of harassment set up. And yeah, I mean, doohickey's third got taken down in that attack. Alumina, he's been doing really nicely in kind of multi-pronged harass, but he's never actually been able to win any fights. And
yeah,
in my experience, that typically means like you do like decent damage and you look like you're ahead, and then the Protoss player just kind of gets tired with being slapped around a bit and goes and kills you. Especially true with when 3/3 upgrades are, you know, this close to being finished or this far ahead for doohickey. He's going to be he's only like 30 seconds off having +3 armor, less if he chronos it, and when that hits, he's going to be able to take a really devastating engagement.
Yeah, it was so nice for doohickey, as you were saying, just going for that final attack, and that Alumina hasn't really taken any of the attacks, is he reset the entire Viking count. Now, we do see four Vikings at a time coming out of Alumina, but still, you reset the entire Viking count, which is a lot easier to deal with, and like I was saying, he still has 8 Stalkers on the left-hand side of the map. In his main, I would really like to see that with the army, especially just to deal with how many Vikings can be produced so quickly, and just the defenders of advantage with 2 starports with reactors on it. For right now, doohickey actually warping in some Archons on the left-hand side. Currently, doohickey at 3/3, while Alumina is at 2/2, and is not actually getting 3/3 upgrades yet.
Yeah, I mean, even when he starts them, they're going to be a long way off. You can't chrono if you're not Protoss, but that's quite a few Widow Mines as well, so that's its own problem for doohickey. A nice little blink is going to get a first little volley of shots. Oh, all those Vikings clumped up, but the Archons actually aren't focus firing them, and without Storm, if these Colossi go down, they are everything right now for doohickey, so he has to keep them alive. Luckily, he will keep 2 of them alive, it looks like, all the Vikings going down, but he has to keep his army under control. Right now, it's just kind of split up. You know what? Zealot Archon's pretty good. Even by itself, it'll just run around doing its own thing pretty comfortably. But now without the Zealots, those Archons suddenly aren't so great anymore. And, oh, you know what?
Colossi, Colossus, bad position. Colossus getting a bad position right there. Vikings surviving. Stalkers blink back to defend, but 2 Colossus a lot more powerful than 1. So you're saying that Archon Zealot or Charge Lot was really nice in that position. But doohickey, I feel like he's going to take this game, but just barely because of just early on. I mean, or not early on, but just in that battle right there, he seemed to not have great micro. But wow, 8 Widow Mines will be burned. We won't actually see them go off on those Archons. But GG, Lumina saying game 1 goes to doohickey. Hello everyone, and welcome to ASL Vanguard League. Currently in the first match of the night. Oh, sorry. Currently in the first match of the night, little bird in my ear saying whoops, but looks like that won't be the case. In the bottom left-hand corner, Expedition lost, currently down 1 game, but I think he could take this game, bring it to a 3-3 or bring it to a 1-1 series. It is Boreal Gaming's Alumina.
And his opponent is going to be standing up here in the top right of Expedition Lost. Playing for Team RNG, it is doohickey. It's a House of Renegades, I believe.
Yeah. Yes, I do. In the top right-hand corner, as you're saying, doohickey is there. Now, we see the exact same thing out of doohickey in this game. Well, on the other hand, not so much out of Alumina. And no gas this time, but doohickey has not scout, or actually, sorry, he has, yes, he did just scout no gas. And so I'm curious how he's going to react this game, whether he's going to try to do that early robo. I think that's daring, but you may be able to make it work. But really think you probably want to, oh, definitely, no, with an engineering bay, you got to be so careful in this position, especially on 1 gas.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful, because, of course, doohickey is going to be a little bit annoyed by that eBay block, and I know somebody for the longest time, their reaction to being eBay blocked was just go all in. But, I mean, that's typically not the world's best option, because Protoss builds tend to be quite refined, especially their all-ins, and if you haven't set up for it, transitioning into it at this sort of stage in the game is pretty difficult. But, I mean, the Zealot getting the Zealot out pretty quickly is a good way to answer it, and yeah, the Nexus goes down without too much delay.
Yeah, Nexus going down with too much delay. Normally you can see that go really, really far, even to the point of the engineering bay finishing, but we don't see that. SCV was... Wait, was the SCV pulled back? No, the SCV was killed, right? Or no, was it pulled? No, it was pulled back.
No, it was killed. It was killed.
Oh, it was killed, okay. I blanked out for a moment there, but we do see doohickey just making sure nothing could happen in the back of his base. Throwing a pylon down there in those rocks. He's a little bit wary of Alumina right now because he is in such an aggressive stance, going 3 racks, getting into some gas now. And if he got gas earlier, if he got 1 gas earlier, I'd say definitely some sort of stim timing, but he's getting double gas now, so he may be trying to compensate for that, but we'll have to see. Just producing Marines now, has the bunker up in the natural completely up and mining.
Yeah, he's going for pretty much the same style he did last game, with 3 barracks, a lot of bio coming out, and I mean, it served him pretty well last game. He did a decent kind of push out. I think if he pushed out a little bit earlier before the Colossi got to quite such a high count, he'd do a lot better. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. A 10-minute is like the normal timing, the normal kind of stim timing, but usually nowadays it comes with like medevacs and maybe like a bit less bio, and obviously maybe a Widow Mine or 2 dropped into main at the same time. But, I mean, yeah. That's not what we're going to see out of Alumina this game, please.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely what we're going to see is a lot more starved on gas. Getting stim out, though, and that's one of the things I just like to say I love about StarCraft, about how you can literally be like, well, it used to be that you'd go and normally stim with just bio, and now they've kind of evolved to bio with medevacs, and I would just find that such a cool factor of a game like this. But yes, that won't actually happen, though, sadly, at least not an early pressure. Getting the factory down, so it looks like we'll try to mix in those medevacs, but nothing too early, which is really giving the advantage to doohickey here, because he is getting those early upgrades up, that not really early robo, but getting the robotics facility up. So this is going to really favor him, only getting 1 forge down now yet, or sorry, only getting 1 forge down yet, so or second one going down now, so it's looking pretty good for doohickey, actually. At least I think.
Yeah, it's looking pretty nice, and looking even nicer with the addition of those 2 forges. I mean, double upgrades, really, really nice. He's going to be a little bit behind Alumina in getting his +1, I think. But I don't know, if doohickey chronos his upgrades out, I think he can still catch up to Alumina's +1 and even overtake it. But we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, Alumina, I think he's adding on his factory a little. No, I think it's a bit slower this game, a bit the same speed this game. a bit, just a bit the same speed.
I actually agree with you on that. In the first game, he went one refinery into the Reaper play, didn't really push much out of that, but yeah, got a little bit later. In this, he's actually playing essentially what he did in the first game, and the same thing happening in the first game. Doohickey just has an observer hanging out on top of those units and sees everything. Now, Doohickey did scout the main base and all those barracks and sees 5 racks down, so I mean I feel like he's going to defend this well. My only concern is there's a lot easier drops in this base, but my only concern is like game 1, the majority of his stalkers were defending the drops, and I think he really has to be careful not to allow any Viking counts, but that still is a little bit far off in this game. We see only 1 starport coming down with double medevac, and the same little bit later timing slightly, but Alumina moving out about the same time.
Yeah, Alumina is... I mean, Vikings aren't going to be really a possibility to hit the field for quite some time, because he's going to have to make at least 2 rounds of medevacs out of that starport before he actually really commits to Vikings. And then, obviously, you know, he can't really afford to lose the medevacs particularly, because medevacs are important, because otherwise you stim your units and they just stay kind of dead. And that's really bad, especially in the face of AoE. I'd kind of like to say Doohickey move towards High Templar a little bit faster this game, because obviously last game he just stuck in Colossi for a long time, and whilst that worked out pretty well for him, I think things would have been a lot easier with High Templar. Having those 2 sources of splash makes things a lot easier, and Colossi are a little bit vulnerable to SCV pulls basically at any stage of the game, whereas like you're kind of terrified of SCV pulls as a Protoss player, basically from like now until Storm finishes. And once Storm finishes, SCVs just don't matter whatsoever. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things goes on. Big Doom drop actually coming out of Alumina, but Doohickey seems to spot it. So.
I'm kind of curious how he spotted that, actually. And he's moving back and forth here.
You keep vision for a little while after a unit dies, so it's possible he, his observer died and then he saw all the units load up. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, or he can just have the inclination while he's scanned there. I really like that scan right there, just before you drop. Even if you don't think an observer there, it's so key because you can get so much damage done. Now, these Colossus, I don't like their positioning. I would like them a little bit more spread out across the ramp and stalkers in front, but we'll have to see. Blink is very close to done, so is 2-2.
Oh, nice.
Actually, not 2-2 is not incredibly close, but decently. And actually, a really nice zealot run by on the right-hand side. Doohickey just taking out that third. Actually, there's nothing to deny it for a little while, so mining is not going to go down. It definitely won't be taken out, but we're going to see that for a little while. Now, Doohickey actually a little bit of hitting the back of these 4 Colossus in a little bit of a hairy position. But wow, Alumina actually. Oh no, he does see the chance to stem in, but nope. No, very indecisive.
Yeah, I think that's a shame. If he'd run in straight as he saw the opportunity,
he would have won that.
He could have taken out those 2 Colossi, and that's kind of what we see a little bit in Vanguard League, like in Prime League and Challenger. It's much more decisiveness, even if it's the wrong decision, and they later go on, damn, I shouldn't have done that. It's they do something and they do it hard. Whereas like dithering around decisions is way worse than making even the worst decisions, unless you're deciding whether or not to move command your army into theirs, in which case you should probably avoid that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Sometimes just being decisive about what you do, even if it's not a great idea, just puts you in such a great position. But yes, I like this stalker from Doohickey just hanging out on the left-hand side of the map. You normally don't see Protosses sending their army out like that because it is so each unit is worth so much. You see more of the Terran Zerg, but I like that out of him. Again, a little bit more scouting information. And so is Alumina going up to check for a third there, not there. Scan, sees the other third, finally gets that, and you will see the army of Doohickey though moving into the Zelnaga Tower and moving a little bit of an attack out on the left-hand side, and I wonder if the Stalker may spot that.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We'll see. I mean, if he had control of the watchtower, he'd definitely spot it, but of course Alumina has that. But right now, there's more pressing matters at hand, which is, of course, the fact that Doohickey is pushing in with a big army, 5 Colossi, into this base, and Doohickey's pressing in, rather, and Alumina, he's got a kind of good position here if he can come in with some more reinforcements from his natural. But we'll see. There's also a drop unloading right now in Doohickey's natural base. But Photon Overcharge will go down and push this away without too much trouble. Meanwhile, Doohickey has come around and is facing up this ramp, and this is much better position for him. Moving up now, there's a big concave for Alumina at the top of the ramp. Of course, Colossi, they love fighting units in concaves because they do line splash damage, and they're going to be doing all that to pretty much all of doohickey's forces. Now they're just focused firing down some supply depots, because Colossi, if there's one thing they like more than doing line splash damage, it's focus firing the wrong thing in an engagement.
Yeah. I was a little bit worried for a second there, Doohickey, but Doohickey did get a lot more stalkers in. There's still that drop in the top of Doohickey's natural, but I don't know how well it's going to do, just because Photon Overcharge is still down. Doohickey's slowly working away. These Vikings trying to get a nice angle, but there's so many stalkers right here. You got to be very careful. But I mean, if Doohickey can just hold his position for a little while, he's going to be in such a great economic position off the back of this, with Storm almost done and 3-3 just about done, and another Photon Overcharge will go down, and that drop will be quite cleaned up pretty easily.
Yeah, not too much trouble. In fact, the medevac's on quite low health, but I imagine Alumina is going to wait until Photon Overcharge expires again, by which time Doohickey should have regenerated enough NG for another one, so I don't know. Kev. Oh my god, Alumina is actually coming down the ramp in full force. All the SCVs, the voice have been pulled, but there's so many Colossi here, and Alumina's already taken quite a lot of SCV damage, so I don't think this is going to be enough. We'll have to see. There's not enough Vikings here to take down all these Colossi, more than 4 Colossus, but I don't know. All the gateways gone, and now the Marauders are getting on top of the Colossi, but there's still 2 left, and another round of reinforcements there. That's, even without charge, should be enough to clean this up. However, the Colossi are just having to run away in terror from the Vikings right now, because there's nothing on the ground to shoot up. Just like one Stalker isn't going to be enough.
Yeah, one Stalker's just not enough, but like I was saying, if he held that contained for a while, he's on his 3rd base and has the economy out of this. Only Colossus being produced right now, but no warp in, so he's got to be very careful. But we do see, what is the name I'm looking for? I'm blanking out right here. We do see Storm. Storm is already done, and so if you can get some Archons up, or at least those TIE Templars sitting in the back of the base for a little while, they will have that Storm, but we do see armies slowly coming in, but again, a meat grinder. I hate when players do that, just slowly moving in. Actually, GG, Doohickey takes game 2, and a 2-0 victory.